Let me ask you something. When was the last time you felt truly at peace? Not distracted, not overwhelmed, not constantly checking your phone. Just calm, centered, whole. It's 2025, and in this world we're all walking through, peace isn't just a luxury anymore. It's survival, it's strength, and above all it's a choice. Because the truth is, the world has never been louder. Everyone's talking. Everyone's reacting. Everyone wants your attention, your energy, your emotions. We scroll through social media, and it's drama after drama. We walk into work, and someone's venting about something again. We come home, and sometimes even the people closest to us don't bring calm, they bring chaos. It's like no matter where you turn, someone or something is trying to pull you into their storm. But here's the powerful truth. You don't have to step into that storm. You have a choice. A quiet, powerful, life-altering choice to protect your peace. And let me tell you, that choice, it changes everything. Because when you protect your peace, you stop giving away your energy to things and people that don't deserve it. You stop explaining yourself to those who are committed to misunderstanding you. You stop reacting to every little comment, every piece of gossip, every passive-aggressive email that lands in your inbox. Instead, you pause, you breathe, and you move differently. You begin to understand that not every battle is yours to fight. Not every invitation to chaos needs an RSVP. Not every opinion requires your response. Because here's the thing, peace isn't found in the noise. It's found in the discipline to walk away from the noise. Let me share something personal. There was a time in my life when I thought being strong meant engaging, explaining myself, arguing my point, defending my name. And every time someone came at me with negativity, I took the bait. Every single time. And you know what it left me with? Exhaustion, burnout, a soul that felt constantly on edge. But the day I decided to stop reacting to everything, the day I chose to let the drama pass by without grabbing hold of it, that's when I discovered a new kind of power. The kind of power that comes from restraint, from presence, from peace. Now, protecting your peace doesn't mean cutting people off with anger or building walls around your heart. It doesn't mean running away from responsibility or avoiding discomfort. It means getting intentional about who you allow into your space. Think about it. You wouldn't leave your front door wide open to let anyone walk into your home, would you? So why do we do that with our minds, our emotions, our hearts? Your peace is your home. And it's okay to say, not everyone gets access. Here's a simple truth that helped me. You don't owe anyone a reaction. You don't owe anyone a justification. Sometimes, the most powerful thing you can say is nothing at all. Walk away. With grace. With purpose. With peace. Because when you do that, something amazing happens. The noise gets quieter. Your thoughts get clearer. Your life gets lighter. You start attracting people who respect your calm, not challenge it. You start building a life that's aligned with your values, not someone else's chaos. You stop living on edge and start living on purpose. And listen, this isn't easy. There will be moments when silence feels weak, when not reacting feels like letting someone win. But the truth is, when you stay calm while others spiral, you haven't lost. You've won the only battle that ever mattered, your inner one. So if you're watching this and you've been feeling overwhelmed, if you've been giving too much of yourself to the wrong people, if you've been losing sleep over situations you can't control, this is your reminder. You don't need permission to protect your peace. You don't need validation to walk away. You are not required to set yourself on fire just to keep someone else warm. Your peace is not selfish. It is sacred. So make the choice. Not once, not when it's easy, but every single day. Background music shifts slightly hopeful, soft piano chords. Because in a world that's constantly yelling, your silence is your power. Your boundaries, that's your strength. And your peace, that's your legacy. If this message resonated with you, hit that like button. Share it with someone who needs to hear this today. And don't forget to subscribe for more messages that feed your soul, not your stress. The more you protect your peace, the more powerfully you live. There's something I want to remind you of today. Something simple but powerful. Absolutely no one has the right to disturb your inner peace. Not your boss, not your partner, not your family, not the world. That peace, That calm space inside you where you think clearly, breathe deeply, and feel grounded. It's yours. And it's sacred. We live in a time where everyone wants a reaction. Turn on the news, it's chaos. Scroll your phone, it's judgment, outrage, and noise. Walk into your day and there's pressure to respond, explain, defend constantly. But here's a truth most people miss. You don't have to respond to everything that tries to pull you out of alignment. You don't have to attend every argument you're invited to. You don't have to explain your boundaries to people who never respected them in the first place. In fact, the strongest thing you can do in many situations is stay silent, not because you're weak, not because you've given up, but because you've chosen peace over proving a point. I'll be honest with you. It took me years to understand this. I used to think that being strong meant having the last word, or standing up for myself every single time, or making sure people understood my side. But guess what? Constant reaction is not strength. It's exhaustion. It's handing your peace to every person who knows how to push your buttons. When you live in defense mode, you forget how powerful you are in stillness. Here's what I've learned. Calm is a fortress. Silence is a shield. Discernment is a weapon. And when you master these three, you don't just survive the chaos around you. You rise above it. You start to see what really matters. Think about your life right now. Out of all the things fighting for your attention, what truly deserves it? Your goals, your family, your peace of mind, your health, mental, emotional, and spiritual. That's where your energy belongs. Not in endless group chats full of gossip. Not in arguing with people online who don't even know you. Not in defending yourself to people who were never really listening. Now let me ask you something personal. How many times this month did you give your peace away? Was it to a coworker who drained your spirit? A friend who only calls to complain? A situation where you knew silence was the answer, but you got pulled in anyway? It happens. We're human. But at some point, you've got to say, enough. From today forward, I want you to remember this. Not everything deserves your energy. Not everyone deserves your reaction. You don't need to clap back. You don't need to over-explain. You don't need to match anyone's chaos with your own. Your silence doesn't mean surrender. It means you've outgrown the conversation. The beautiful thing about peace is this. When you guard it, something amazing starts to happen. You attract better energy. You make better decisions. And the right people, the ones who really see you, they'll respect your stillness. They'll feel your power even when you don't say a word. Because peace doesn't scream. It doesn't need attention. It simply is. And for those who don't get it, let them go. Let them misinterpret your silence. Let them call you distant, or cold, or whatever label makes them comfortable. Because your job isn't to be understood by everyone. Your job is to protect your spirit. That's maturity. That's emotional intelligence. That's self-respect. So, the next time someone tries to bait you into a fight, the next time chaos knocks on your door, pause, breathe, remember who you are, and walk away with grace, with confidence, and with your peace intact. You're not running, you're rising. And not everyone deserves a front row seat to that. Closing thought. In a world obsessed with noise, be the person who speaks through calm. In a world obsessed with drama, be the one who moves in silence. And in a world full of reaction, be the one who chooses peace. Because peace isn't weakness, it's wisdom. And once you learn how to protect it, you'll never live the same way again. If this message helped you reclaim your calm today, leave a comment below and tell me how you protect your peace. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this with someone who needs it. Because peace is meant to be shared. Let me start with a hard truth. Talk is cheap. And in today's world, it's everywhere. We live in a culture flooded with promises. I'm gonna start that business. I'm going to get in shape this year. I'll call you back. I'm done with that toxic relationship. Sound familiar? We all say things with good intentions. We tell ourselves and others what we're going to do. But here's what separates the dreamers from the doers, the loud from the respected, the noise from the truth. Follow through. Because words might inspire for a moment, but actions leave a legacy. Have you ever met someone who always talks a big game, but never actually shows up? They talk about loyalty until things get hard. They talk about change, but their patterns stay the same. They talk about respect, but their behavior says otherwise. It's frustrating, right? But before we point fingers, let's look inward. Because at some point, we all fall into the same trap. We say more than we do. We convince ourselves that intention is enough. But intention without action is just noise. Here's something I've learned. People remember how you show up, not what you said you'd do. You could promise someone the world, but if you don't show up when it counts, if you don't prove it with consistency, with presence, with effort, your words vanish into the air like they were never spoken. That's why real power is quiet. It's not in announcements. It's not in social media captions. It's in movement. It's in results. It's in actions that speak so clearly, you don't have to say a word. Think about this. Who do you respect more? The person constantly talking about what they're going to do, or the one quietly showing up, day after day, putting in the work? Consistency is louder than charisma. And trust me, the people watching you are not waiting to be impressed by your words. They're waiting to feel your commitment, to see if your actions align with your values, to know if they can trust you on it because you said so, but because you proved it. Let's talk about relationships. Ever told someone, I'm done with them, but kept answering their messages? Ever promised yourself, I'm walking away, but kept showing up in the same toxic dynamic? Real endings don't come from words. They come from actions. Don't say you've moved on. Move on. Let your actions be the closure. Let your distance be the boundary. Let your silence be the message. When you truly cut teeth with people, habits, environments that no longer serve you don't need to announce it. You simply stop showing up where you no longer belong. I'll be real with you. Sometimes it feels safer to talk than to act. Talking gives us a quick hit of relief. We feel productive. We feel powerful. But action, that requires discipline. That requires sacrifice. That's where the real discomfort and the real growth lies. There's a saying I keep close to my heart. Don't just talk the talk, walk the walk. And it's not just a cliche. It's a standard. In a world full of noise, the ones who walk quietly, with purpose and conviction, those are the people who make real impact. Because they don't waste energy proving who they are. They show up. They deliver. They live it. So if you're watching this right now, ask yourself, are my actions aligned with my values? Am I showing up the way I want to be remembered? What have I been saying but not doing? And more importantly, what would happen if, starting today, I let my actions do all the talking? Here's what would happen. You'd start earning quiet respect. Not attention. Not applause. Respect. You'd stop needing to convince people of your worth. Because your consistency would speak louder than any speech ever could. People would feel your presence. Not because you demanded it, but because your actions commanded it. Let me leave you with this. You don't need to explain yourself anymore. You don't need to talk circles to be heard. You don't need to argue to be understood. Let your life speak. Let your work speak. Let your peace, your growth, your boundaries speak. Because the most powerful people I've ever met, they didn't need to shout. They just kept showing up. And so can you. Let me ask you something honest. What are you still holding on to that you already know is holding you back? A relationship, a job, a habit, a version of yourself that no longer fits who you're becoming. You see, we all carry things, memories, expectations, people, pain. But here's the hard truth. The longer you hold on to what no longer serves you, the longer you delay what is meant for you, there's this quiet kind of suffering most people live with. Not the loud, dramatic kind, but the silent pain of refusing to let go, of clinging to comfort even when it hurts, because it's familiar, because it's safe, because it's all you've ever known. But here's the paradox. Growth doesn't happen in comfort. Breakthrough never comes from staying in the same place. I've been there myself. I once stayed in a job that drained the life out of me. Not because it made me happy, but because it made sense. It paid the bills. It had benefits. It looked good on paper. But inside, I was shrinking. Every day, a little more of my passion, my creativity, my joy, was fading. And yet I stayed. Why? Because letting go felt terrifying. What would I do next? What if I failed? What if walking away made me look weak? But the truth is, the only thing weakening me was staying. And maybe you're in that space too. Staying in a relationship that's lost its respect. Stuck in a mindset built on fear instead of possibility. Holding on to a version of yourself that was only meant to be temporary. Let me tell you something with love and clarity. You don't owe your future to the things that broke your past. Just because something once mattered doesn't mean it still belongs. Just because it was right for you back then doesn't mean it's right for where you're headed. So many people stay stuck, not because they're incapable of change, but because they're afraid of the unknown. Afraid to start over. Afraid of judgment. Afraid that letting go means failure. But letting go is not weakness. Letting go is courage. It's the bravery to say, "This is no longer helping me grow, and I love myself too much to stay small." Let me put it this way. Imagine carrying a heavy backpack filled with rocks. You've been carrying it for so long, you barely even notice the weight anymore. But it's slowing you down, hurting your back, draining your energy. Then one day, someone says, "Hey, you know you can put that down, right?" And in that moment, the moment you finally let go, you remember what it feels like to move freely again. That's what letting go feels like. Freedom, relief, room to breathe again. Now, I won't lie to you, letting go isn't easy. It's not a snap your fingers kind of moment. It often involves grief. Grief over what could have been. Grief over the version of you that had to die so a better one could be born. But here's what's on the other side of that grief. Clarity, peace, space for something new. Because when you let go of what's weighing you down, you finally make space for what's meant to lift you up. So today, I want you to ask yourself honestly, what am I clinging to fear, not faith? What story, person, or situation have I outgrown, but haven't had the courage to release? And if you feel that answer in your gut, if something inside you whispers, it's time, don't ignore it. Don't silence that voice. That's your future calling. That's your soul telling you the truth. Letting go doesn't mean you failed. It means you're done settling. It means you're choosing your next chapter, even if you don't know exactly how it begins. It means you believe finale that your peace is worth more than your past. Here's the bottom line. You are not stuck. You're just scared. But fear never built a meaningful life. Fear never helped someone rise. Fear never led to peace. Faith did. Courage did. Letting go did. Visual. A woman walking away from a door closing behind her. Her face is calm. She exhales deeply. The music lifts. So let go. With love. With gratitude. And with confidence that what's ahead will be better than what you're leaving behind. Because it's not the letting go that will break you. It's the staying too long in a place that was never meant to hold your future. Let me tell you something that could change the way you live. Your energy is your most valuable asset. More valuable than time. More powerful than money. More irreplaceable than any possession. Because once your energy is gone, your focus fades. Your motivation disappears. Your peace evaporates. And the worst part? Most people don't even realize they're giving it away until it's too late. Every day, you wake up with a certain amount of emotional, mental, and spiritual energy. And just like your phone battery, every interaction, every decision, every distraction drains it a little more. So the real question isn't how much energy you have. It's where are you spending it? Let me ask you this. Who are you giving your energy to right now? Who isn't giving anything back? Maybe it's that friend who only calls when they need something. Maybe it's the coworker who constantly dumps their stress on your shoulders. Or the partner who takes your love but never returns it with the same depth. Here's the truth nobody tells you. Not everyone deserves access to you. Not everyone deserves your kindness, your time, your emotional bandwidth. Think of your energy like a VIP event. You don't hand out passes to just anyone. You protect the room. You curate the guest list. Because if the wrong people get in, they'll trash the place and leave without saying thank you. That's what happens when we let energy-draining people occupy space in our lives unchecked. They don't just take. They leave you emptier than before they arrived. I know it's hard. We want to be kind. We want to help. We don't want to seem selfish or distant. But here's a reminder for your heart. Setting boundaries doesn't make you cold. It makes you wise. It's not your job to carry everyone. It's your job to take care of yourself so you can carry what truly matters. So the next time someone comes into your space with chaos, gossip, complaints, or manipulation, pause. Ask yourself, do they return the energy I give? Do they respect my time, my values, my space? Am I left feeling drained or restored? If the answer drains you just thinking about it, you already know the truth. Protecting your energy isn't about cutting people off with anger. It's about being intentional with your access, because your energy builds your life. It fuels your goals, your healing, your relationships, your peace. And every time you give it away freely to people who haven't earned it, you're stealing from your future self. Let me share something personal. There was a point in my life when I was constantly exhausted, not because I was doing too much, but because I was giving too much to the wrong things, trying to fix people who didn't want to change, saying yes to things that didn't align with my purpose, staying in conversations that went nowhere, until one day I realized, I'm not tired from working too hard. I'm tired from caring where I shouldn't. That shift changed everything. I started asking, does this feed me or deplete me? And if the answer was deplete, I let it go. You don't need to explain your boundaries. You don't need to justify why you're protecting your peace. You just need to remember, you are not a public resource. You are a limited edition. Treat your energy accordingly. Now let's flip the script. Where should your energy go? The people who love you deeply and show up when it counts. The goals that light a fire in your soul. The projects that make you lose track of time in the best way. The habits that make you healthier, calmer, stronger. That's where your energy belongs. That's where it multiplies. When you redirect your energy into the right things, you stop surviving and start thriving. You begin to feel more present, more powerful, more aligned with who you're meant to become. You stop pouring into empty cups and start filling your own. You stop getting dragged into everyone's storms and start living in your own calm. Here's your reminder. You are not responsible for fixing people who don't want to grow. You are not obligated to stay connected to what drains you. You are allowed to choose peace over people-pleasing. And nothing doesn't make you a bad person. It makes you someone who finally realizes you only get one life, and your energy shapes every part of it. So protect it, with boundaries, with courage, with wisdom. Don't let everyone in. Don't hand out your energy like it's free. Because when you start guarding your energy, you start building a life you actually want to live. Let's be real for a moment. When someone wrongs you, when they lie to you, betray your trust, or break your heart, the first thing that rises isn't peace, it's pain. And behind that pain, the desire for revenge. It's raw, it's real, and for a moment it feels like the only thing that could make things right again. But here's what I need you to hear. Revenge may feel powerful, but it will never bring you peace. It's one of the most expensive investments you can make. It drains your energy. It costs you your focus. And worst of all, it keeps you tied to the very thing that hurt you. You think you're winning by getting even, but in reality, you're just staying stuck. Let me ask you something honestly. How much longer are you going to let someone else live rent-free in your head? How much more time are you going to give to replaying the past? Trying to imagine what you should have said, what you could have done, or how you'll show them someday. Because while you're doing that, they're moving on. They're sleeping fine. They're not thinking about you. They've taken enough already. Don't give them your peace too. Let me offer you a different path. A higher road. One that doesn't just look strong, but actually builds strength. What if, instead of focusing on revenge, you redirected that energy towards your growth? What if, instead of trying to hurt them back, you focused on healing yourself forward? Because here's the truth. You can't build a better future while living in the past. When I was younger, I wasted years mentally fighting battles that no longer existed, replaying conversations, imagining confrontations, planning my perfect comeback. And do you know what it got me? Nothing. No closure, no progress, no peace. But the moment I stopped asking, how do I get even? And started asking, how do I get better? Everything changed. Let me tell you something powerful. Your success is your best response. Your peace is your loudest answer. And your growth? That's the one thing no one can take away from you. So start putting that energy into something real. Learn something new. Take care of your body. Feed your mind. Invest in your dreams. Surround yourself with people who reflect your future, not your past. You see, every time you level up, you step further away from what tried to break you. And here's a thought that might bring you peace today. Not everyone was meant to stay. Some people were just meant to teach. That lesson, that betrayal, that heartbreak, it hurt, but it showed you something. It revealed your boundaries. It clarified your values. It reminded you of your worth. And now, class is over. You've learned what you needed. It's time to graduate. I want you to think about this. What would your life look like if you took all the energy you've used trying to prove a point and poured it into becoming the strongest version of yourself? How much further could you be? How much lighter would you feel? How much more focused, clear, and fulfilled would your life become? Now let me be clear. Letting go of revenge doesn't mean they got away with it. It means you got away from them. It means you took your power back. It means you stopped handing them the keys to your emotional state. And when that happens, you don't just win, you evolve. Because here's what I've learned. Growth is the ultimate revenge. Success is the silence that speaks volumes. And peace is the loudest mic drop of all. You don't need to make a scene. You don't need to post a quote. You don't need to prove your worth. Just live well, grow deeply, and let your future speak louder than your anger ever could. If today's message helped you shift your mindset, drop A in the comments. And let me know. What's one way you're choosing to grow instead of get even? Subscribe if you're ready to stop looking back and start building forward. In a world where everyone is talking, yelling, posting, reacting, arguing, what does it mean to be silent? What does it mean to say nothing? Not because you're afraid, not because you're weak, but because you've learned something most people haven't. Silence is power. We're taught from a young age that strength is loud. That to stand up for yourself, you need to speak up, push back, fight harder. But what if I told you, some of the most powerful moments in life are the ones where you say nothing at all? Because silence isn't the absence of strength, it's the presence of control. Think about this. How many times have you said something out of anger, only to regret it later? How often have you reacted in the moment, only to realize the situation didn't even deserve your energy? Silence gives you something that very few things do in a heated world: clarity, control, and choice. When you stay silent, you get to observe, you get to pause, you get to think through your response or decide not to respond at all. And that's where your true power lies. Not in always being heard, but in always being centered. Let me share something personal. There was a time in my life where I felt the need to defend myself constantly. Every comment, every misunderstanding, every criticism, real or imagined. I was stuck in reaction mode. It was exhausting. But the day I started choosing silence, something changed. I didn't lose power. I reclaimed it. I stopped being pulled into drama. I stopped wasting energy explaining myself to people who didn't want to understand. And most of all, I started to feel free. Here's the truth. You don't have to attend every argument you're invited to. You don't have to explain your boundaries. You don't have to justify your peace. You don't have to prove your worth to people who don't even value it. Silence says, I see you, but I don't need to join you. It says, I could respond, but I don't have to. It says, I know who I am. And that's enough. Let me ask you this. When was the last time you paused before reacting? When was the last time you said nothing yet felt stronger because of it? Because the world will always try to provoke you. People will test your patience. Situations will push your buttons. But silence is the space between the stimulus and the response. And in that space is your power. When you master silence, people notice. They don't understand it right away, but they feel something different about you. While others are shouting to be seen, you stand still, and suddenly, all eyes are on you. Not because you demanded attention, but because your calmness created presence. True power doesn't shout. It whispers with confidence. Silence is also a mirror. It reflects your strength. It reveals your self-trust. It reminds you, you don't need to react to feel in control. You don't need to speak to be respected. You don't need to defend to be worthy. Because people who are truly powerful don't privathi, just move. Let me leave you with this. Next time someone tries to trigger you, stay silent. Next time drama shows up at your door, don't answer. Next time someone misjudges you, let them. Because your silence, it's not surrender. It's strategy. It's maturity. It's freedom. So protect your peace. Guard your energy. Hold your silence like the crown it is. Because not everything deserves your voice. Not everyone deserves your reaction. And sometimes the loudest thing you can say is nothing at all. If this message reminded you of your strength, drop a in the comments. Let me know. What's one situation in your life where silence gave you back your power? And if you're on a journey to become more grounded, more self-aware, and more in control of your energy, subscribe. Because this space, it's for people who are done shouting and ready to start living with intention.